Well, good day everyone. I'm here with Christine Morgan. It was just over a year ago that I asked Christine Morgan to come and be the government's principal advisor, advising me, the whole government, on suicide prevention, but also to take on the role as head of the Mental Health Commission. This year has been the toughest year I think most people can remember. For those more senior in our community, they know many generations ago Australia faced even greater challenges than this. But that's not to diminish what's happening now, because what's happening now has been tough. Whether you're a young person in primary school having to deal with the changes there, elderly Australians cut off from their families, families themselves worried about their kids. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure at the moment. And what we want to talk to you about today is that there is hope on the other side of this. And it's really important we keep focused on that. We can become very focused on the things that are happening here and now. But the great thing about Australia is we always get through. We always get to the other side, and that's because we're a really resilient people and we're really positive people. And I think that's one of the reasons why Christine, Australia has probably done better than most countries around the world, because we do have that attitude, we do have that culture in Australia to help each other as much as we can. Christine, what are you finding as you're seeing the information come in and people are relaying to you how they're dealing with the challenges of this year?
So, look, I think firstly, can I agree with you that I think that sense of, we called it mateship, didn't we, back in the wars? Call it now what we want to, but it's actually that ability to reach out to each other, to be there for each other. I think that's proving to be one of the strongest protective factors that we've got. Look, undoubtedly, this is impacting on all of our mental health. Maybe one of the good things that's come out of this is that we've kind of come out of the shadows to say our mental health is part of us, and it's part of being who we are, and how important it is to take all the steps we can to look after our mental health and our well-being. But it's also to be expected that we're going to feel at times really down, really anxious. I think people are frightened. They're frightened, they're nervous, but we can actually get through that. The other thing that we are really seeing is just how fatigued people are now. It's been a long time, but there is ways we can get through. It's just that step by step by step, and we can get through it. We can get it, particularly through it together.
And it's normal. It is very normal for people to feel like this. I can tell you, whether it's doing my job or Christine doing hers or anyone else, the premiers, those in our health system, our doctors, our nurses, they're all going through the same thing as well. And we all do things we can to help manage that. Where you can, and I know it's a lot more difficult in Melbourne to do this, but even if you're doing it in your own home, getting that regular exercise, having routines, having the opportunity to talk to people on the phone, making sure you're having that contact, and focusing on the goals I think that are ahead. Certainly what I try and do each and every day. Where I can, I try and get a swim in there every now and then. That clears my head. I try and ensure that I spend time with my family, which gives me a completely other focus, and many other things. And we all have to do it. None of us are superheroes here. But what I think are doing as a nation is proving a super strength, which I'm incredibly proud of Australians. And it's for the youngest people. I mean, I've got letters that are piling through this office of just encouragement and positive messages. Kids writing poems, sending them to me, and they're doing this, and they're worried about their parents, and they're looking to help their parents. So there is a great positive spirit that we can draw on. And that said, there will be some more difficult times ahead, Christine, and that's why we've put an enormous amount of resource, obviously. There is help out there. I want you to know that. There is help out there, and we've put more resource and support, whether it's into Health Headspace or Lifeline or Kids Helpline, and we know more and more people have been accessing these services. And that's what we want people to do. That's why we put the extra resources in. And those services can make a difference.
They certainly can, and you're exactly right. People have been accessing them, and I think that I would continue to encourage everybody. Those services are there, whether you need to just have a conversation, whether you need to find a strategy. As the Prime Minister has said, we all have ways of dealing with this, and one of the most effective things we can do is have a real sense of agency still. That actually these circumstances aren't controlling us. They sure as heck are influencing us. But we can actually still control things to an extent around our own lives. And it's really important to reach out and grab that sense of agency. What our online services can do is really help you develop some strategies. So firstly, they help you put into words how you're feeling. That's really important. Then they can reassure, they can help you have a strategy to get through. And for those of us who need more support, our mental health services are now available, as we know, through telehealth. You can ring, you don't have to see somebody face to face. Of course, if you can, that is also available to you. But I think it is reassuring that people are actually reaching out to those services and finding the help they need, because it's a truism. If you can look after your mental health and well-being, if you can get yourself back on track, then you are that much stronger to help those you love around you. So it's a two-way thing. Look after yourself, and that'll help you look after other people.
So connecting yourself to those supports yourself, but also I think encouraging others to know that those supports are there. I've seen that with young people. They will have their phones and they'll say, call this number. And if you're with someone or you're talking to someone on the phone who you know is really struggling with things, please encourage them to reach out to those services, because they'll be there. Familiarise yourself with all the websites and the call numbers that are there, because I think that can be enormously helpful. It's a tough year, but Australians are pretty tough, and we're always able to see over the next hill, over the horizon, and that's why I think Australia has always been such a positive place, and I think it's why we've been so successful to date through this crisis. Sure, it's not linear. Sure, it just doesn't. Would have been nice to think back in June that we could have got to where we hoped to get in July. And of course, we've had a setback, but we'll get back. We'll get back from that. And the numbers in terms of the cases in Victoria are coming down, and that's good. And we're all going to work as hard as we can to get things opened up as safely as we can. Health comes first when it comes to dealing with this issue, but those health issues have to be balanced by the real impacts that come from these restrictions. We know they can affect people's mental health. We know they affect their livelihoods. So it's not a simple set of decisions. These all have to be taken together, and I want to assure you that we're focused on that. So our message to you today is that the supports are there and the resources are there to help you get through this. But my bigger confidence is in you, because I know that you have what you need within inside you to help you get through the months ahead, and together we'll all get through it.
Authorised by S. Morrison, Liberal Party, Canberra.